Hey guys, it's Eden, Hartung, Anna Sitar, and Katey Tracy, and we're here working together as the photography committee and podcasting committee on our pink collaboration bead because we're both beaders. So, I'm here to ask Anna questions about the photography committee. Starting with, is your job really hard?
My job for the photography committee isn't too hard. The only part that I have to do is really work on picking out the pictures that each student takes and then uploading them to the website. And the most time-consuming part of that is uploading to the website. Other than that, I really enjoy taking pictures of the kids.
Okay, yeah, that sounds really fun. Do you have any requirements for the photography committee? If so, what are they? Like the participants? Requirements for them?
Just a few requirements is that they have to take pictures of everything that happens that day. If it's a really exciting day, then sometimes we'll break it up into parts and kids have to focus specifically on the morning, midday, or nighttime. But they're able to take pictures throughout the entire day, and they have to be into me by the end of the day so I can upload them to the website.
What are some things that helps the photography committee run smoothly?
Really encouraging the students to continue to take pictures, and when the students take lots of pictures for me to go through, it gives me more options of photos to upload on the website for the parents to see.
How would you change the photography committee if you could?
If I could change anything about the photography committee, I think that I would much rather have 2 junior leaders working on it because it's a lot of late nights for one person to have to work, and it'd be easier if you could divvy it between 2 people to make it a little bit less of a pile on one person.
So Anna, if you are the leader of the photography committee, would you say that taking pictures is your passion?
Yeah, I really like to take pictures. I think it's a lot of fun, especially you get to capture some really special moments for some students, and it also really helps you open your eyes to different things. Even though you're looking at a lot of the trip through a camera lens, you really get to capture some amazing moments that parents love to see their kids in.
Do you agree with the statement that sometimes it's better to not take a picture and just look at it if you don't think you're going to be able to capture it?
Yeah, I do agree with that statement. I think that for some occasions it would make it easier to see it in real life than have to always be looking through a camera lens. Sometimes you can miss things if the lens doesn't have everything in view, and it would be easier to see it if you're just looking, but I think that a picture lasts longer than your memory sometimes.
Very true. I would agree completely with that statement. Do you have any tips for people at home who've decided they really enjoy taking pictures and maybe are having a hard time?
I think just keep your mind open. Don't really try to focus on the big picture. Sometimes look at the little things in life, and those really make great pictures.
That is some great advice, Anna. Along with us, with me, Anna, and Katey, is Nicole, who's a participant on the photography committee. Nicole, what's your job as a participant?
My job is to take a lot of pictures every day so we can put those pictures on the website for parents to see.
What do you find hard about your job?
A lot. The hardest thing is probably taking the pictures and giving them to Anna because sometimes you just want to absorb the mountains or the lakes and not take pictures all day.
Is there anything that you find in particularly easy?
Scenery is a lot easier than taking pictures of the participants.
Do you what is one goal for the photography committee that you try to fulfill every day?
I try to take a lot more pictures of the participants than the scenery so parents can see their kids every day.
Do you like being on the photography committee? Is it what you thought it would be?
I love being on the photography committee, but it's not really what I expected. It's a little bit more filled with responsibility.
Okay. So Nicole, you said you like taking pictures of scenery. Is there any tips you have for people at home on how they should take good scenic photos?
I would just say you really want to capture the beauty in the mountains and rivers and lakes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Now we will be shifting the focus to podcasting. Eden, do you like your job as a podcast junior leader?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. The kids are great and they're always so on the ball. They always take their pictures, and podcasting is kind of a fun thing to do. It's basically a group discussion, and heck, who doesn't like to talk about the amazing things we do every day?
Do you have any requirements, like main requirements for the participants in the podcast committee?
Mostly it's just we have a schedule where the participants every other day take pictures. But besides that, they just basically need to be there with a positive attitude to help us put together the podcast.
Do you think that your job as a junior leader is hard?
If I was running it by myself, I think it'd be a lot harder, but since I have Katey with me, we switch on and off the nights that we upload, so I think the weight is dispersed evenly.
How would you change the podcast committee?
Ooh, if I was gonna change the podcast committee, I would probably have the kids work more before the trip with me and try to make sure that they know all exactly what they're doing, and maybe engage them a little bit more, which we probably should have done at the beginning of the trip. It runs smoothly right now, but I think the kids could really grow from learning how to put the podcast together by themselves. But yeah, our podcast community is doing good.
Do you have any tips for people who want to make podcasts at home?
Yeah, for sure. You should really invest in the Mac. I know everyone says PCs are better, but Macs are really good for that because you have the GarageBand, which comes with a whole thing to walk you through on how to make a podcast. Also, you should invest in a microphone like the one we're using right now, the Blue Snowball microphone, and it's really good at picking up sound and making sure you have a full rounded out range.
Now bringing in with us is Skyler, a participant from the podcast committee. Skyler, what is your job as a participant on the podcast committee?
Well, basically, we just talk about the day. We kind of recap it in a short summary for the people back at home.
What do you find hard or easy about your job?
I find it, it's not a really hard job. It's really easy, and it's actually really fun, but it's really easy overall. There's nothing really hard about, yeah.
Do you like what you do on the podcast committee?
Yes, I love what I do on the podcast committee. It's nice to tell people back at home what we are doing and keeping them up to date.
What is your favorite part about being on the podcast committee?
Working together as a group with our committee leaders and just going over what we did in that day.
Is there anything that you would recommend for people back home who would like to make a podcast?
Just kind of go with it, and have a lot of fun. Don't take it too seriously, but just let yourself be yourself.
Okay, thank you so much, Skyler.
Yep, thank you.
Now we're bringing in with us Katey, who is the other junior beater for the podcast committee. Katey, what do you have as requirements for the podcast committee, and if so, what are they?
Well, each day the participants have to take photos of the day, and at first we had them just take pictures of the main thing, but now that our podcasts are getting better, we require them to take pictures of everything. We want them to be taking photos of breakfast or doing laundry at the laundromat, just so we can, put the pictures along with what we're saying, because that allows for a better podcast.
What do you do on the podcast committee specifically?
Eden and I work together, and we have to record what the podcast is going to say with the participants on our podcast committee, and sometimes we have guest speakers, and then we add the photos and we edit it, and sometimes we add music.
Oh, that's really cool. Do you think that your job is difficult on the podcast committee?
It can be hard sometimes. The most difficult aspect is having the photos line up with what is being said.
And how would you change the podcast committee if you could?
I wouldn't really change anything about it. I think that for participants with Eden and I really makes for a great team. We all work together, and there's not too many people ever talking, and we all just get along really well.
What is your favorite part of the podcast committee?
I just like the participants on it. Whenever we're doing a podcast, it's like a little family, and it's like a radio show almost too, and we just all have a lot of fun recapping the day, and it helps us remember what we did that day too, and it's nice to show the people back home just a little glimpse of our day here in Alaska.
Okay, thank you so much, Kate. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you for listening to the podcast for the collaboration bead for the podcasting committee along with the photography committee. We hope you really enjoyed it.